Welcome, everyone, to the Holstein House podcast. I'm the West Virginia woman, Robin, of RobinHolstein.com and Holstein House, where my guests get a great night's sleep at a fair rate plus breakfast. This is a podcast that looks at society and culture issues affecting families in West Virginia and the United States, from food preparation and storage, gardening, home repairs, current events, and more. We'll go around the table and back in 60 minutes or less. So let's hang out and talk a while. Good morning, everybody. How are you this morning? Oh, it's a tired morning here at Holstein House. It's been a challenging week. And just trying to get everything in order. Wouldn't want to get another nasty gram from Afro the Mix about how I didn't have my stuff ready when it's time to go, and he's tired of waiting 5 minutes. Yeah, I don't know what that was all about. I don't want to say I don't care, but honestly, I can't get tore up about every negative comment. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone over in Clapperland. Glad to see you again. Let me adjust this a little bit. Hope it don't make too much noise when I do that. Different angles for different things. Good morning, Ronaldo. Good to see you again. Do I have all my little things turned off? Yeah, I think I do. Well, it's a cold, rainy day, damp day here in my part of West Virginia, here at Holstein House on our front porch. Some of the things that I've gotten into the habit of doing is of the mornings after I get the household, up and running and awake, I go over on Telegram and I post what the temperature is outside on the porch here at Holstein House, and just a one sentence or so forecast of it's going to get to 53, but it's going to rain all day or something like that, and try to say hello to everybody in that world over there. Today is Friday, March the 10th, 2023. It's just after 10 o'clock, and this is a live unscripted. And I started doing live unscripted to, help break the monotony of a scripted podcast or video on YouTube or Rumble or all the other places that I upload to. Get my hair off that microphone so it's not sitting there making noise. Hopefully everybody over in Clapper can hear. I do have a little lapel mic on. I don't know. It doesn't give me a range of power, so I'm not sure how strong it is, how clear it is. So anyone who wants to comment on that is more than welcome. I want to start off this morning thanking everyone who made an effort to listen to Tuesday's show. It wasn't live broadcast. It was pre-recorded. I don't know how you can record dead, but people say recorded live. Well, anyway, I pre-recorded that episode. Tuesday was a day that in the last, it would be 10 years of doing this, because it had been 11 years since my son passed away, and I didn't obviously do it when he first passed away, but over the past 10 years since my son passed away in 2012, I've observed what I call radio silence. I just stay home, or I stay off the social medias. I don't post anything anywhere on that day. Just a day of rest for me, in remembrance of my son and the struggles that he went through and the challenges that the family has gone through since his suicide. And I know episode 43, which was titled "Suicide is Not Painless," wasn't easy for people to listen to, and it wasn't easy to record. It's actually taken me all these 11 years to get to the point where I could do that in one sitting and just talk about it, just flat out talk from start to finish. And so it's been a long journey for that. And it was tough for some folks to listen to. I did get a couple messages about I just can't finish it. I can't listen to it, or I'm taking it in bites because it's pretty intense. I didn't mean it to be too intense, but it's factual. It's what I went through. It's what I saw my son go through, and yeah, so it was a tough episode of just part of the life that I've had. Some folks will look at me and say, "Oh, she's got it easy." Some folks will look at it and say, she doesn't know what it is to struggle. But no, my struggles have been a lot different than a lot of other people's. I, married very young, and we had almost no money. And I'm not saying that I have a lot of money now at all. I don't, but I've learned a lot, and we have come a long way as a family. So. But that episode 43, titled Suicide is Not Painless, is important. It's important to understand that people can be manipulated to do things that you really wouldn't think that they could do. People can be coerced. People can feel devastated. And the people left behind, if a loved one or friend chooses suicide as the answer, which I would strongly disagree that it is, but if they choose suicide as the way out, understand that their family and their friends, and perhaps you, if you're one of those family or friends, are going to feel that loss every day, and it's going to hurt. So it is not painless. But today, like I said, is live unscripted, and hopefully it's a little lighter as we go through. I do have some topics to kind of prime the pump, so to speak, for conversation. I am going to try to keep it. I'm going to try to keep it right in the money, ending before 11 o'clock here Eastern time in West Virginia, because I have to go over to the funeral home, one of the funeral homes. Our long-term pastor, Mike Coleman, had struggled for several years now with a type of cancer, and he passed away last Friday morning, as a matter of fact. His viewing and services today. Originally, I was taking Dad over there. Dad's not feeling well. He's very congested. He's an upper respiratory thing going on. Hopefully, it's not anything more than just some allergy and sinus issue there, and not a big serious situation. If Dad does get sick, it could necessarily impact the next few days of what I do, because my dad comes first. I know a lot of people will say when you're doing these content creation things that you have to put everything aside and you have to focus hard. Well, that's true. I, however, choose my family first. So where it impacts my family, my father, my husband, my son, my immediate family, that way, they will always be first. So if something comes up and I'm not able to do one of my regular lives, then I will have something up, whether it's a 3-minute blurb explaining why I won't have the big show, or what, something somewhere will be posted that everyone will be able to find out. Let's see. Oh, I promised Toolman Tim Cook. He is a fabulous content creator. He has a great YouTube channel, and he did a show yesterday, and it was a topic that, where did I put the link? I just had the link right here. Oh, rats. What did I do? There's that. Oh, here it is. His show is the workshop podcast. And yesterday evening, now I didn't see it live. A lot of times, because he's in a part of Canada that the time zone is so different for me that I'm usually in bed. So I usually catch up on some of the podcasts and things of the people I follow the next day while I'm doing regular housework and regular things and sitting at my desk and doing work and things like that. I'll play them in the background. He did a show titled Poverty Mindset, and how to break the poverty mindset. And it was really, really good. Tim discusses how he and his wife, Becky, living in Canada, living at poverty level, and with that scarcity of resources, and resources being anything from cash to groceries to clothes to housing, anything, how they broke out of that. And it was spurred by a comment that someone else had made in a Telegram group about, I've read about and I've heard about poverty mindset. I don't really understand what it is and how to get out of it. So Tim just off the cuff changed his format or his programming for yesterday evening and just did a bang up job on the poverty mindset. I'm going to have to amend my show notes, but I will put the link to his show in there. And this is a link to his fountain.fm podcast episode on that topic. He says that he asked if people would share it, and I'm more than willing to do that to my limited following. The latest episode of the workshop is now live. It got rather fiery, sharing thoughts and experiences on the poverty mindset. So don't listen to the episode if you aren't in the mood to get motivated. Yeah, I mean, he kind of calls a spade a couple times there. You know, if you're in the habit of saying it must be nice for somebody to have something, you know, like it must be nice that the Rockefellers are rich, or it must be nice that Hunter Biden's getting away with all these things, or it must be nice that somebody has a freeze dryer, you know, then you're probably going to get hacked off at Tim's show, because he's telling you, hey, that ain't the way you look at life. And you need to break that habit if you expect to do better for yourself. And there's nothing wrong with doing better for yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. I come at things a little differently. I think there's a level that we need to, I don't want to say restrict ourselves, but honestly, I don't need $4 or $5 million to be happy in my life, to be prosperous in my life, to do good things in my life. You know, do I want to be comfortable in my life? Yes, I do. Do I want to not have to worry when I go to the grocery store? Exactly. But, you know, I don't need to be Bill Gates or Elon Musk or any of that stuff to feel successful and to be successful. And, you know, so there's probably, would I like to have $1 million? Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, I think I would. I think that would ensure that I don't have to worry about, you know, them cutting the gas off or cutting the lights off or whatever. But once you get much past that, then you're starting to worry about keeping it. And then you're worried about people trying to take it from you. And then you're worried about taxes and all these other things. So, let's see. Oh, might be limited following, but quality following. Yes, Ronaldo. Only the quality kids follow my podcasts and YouTube channels. The quality kids. It's not the hip kids, not necessarily the hip kids or the popular kids. Definitely probably not the popular kids. I can tell you that. I was never one of the popular crowd. I was always off on the edges. I wasn't in the you know, there was always there were popular kids that were, you know, the straight A students and the affluent students and parents that, you know, had a little more money and things like that. And then you had the kids that were on the other end, the smokers, the drinkers, and the fighters, and their popular group there. You know, I was never in either of those. I was always kind of off, you know, in over here somewhere. Never in the popular straight A student types, and I wasn't in the popular, you know, kids that smoke and drank and carried on. I was always somewhere else in the middle of all of that. So let's see. Oh, my live stream looks like it's kind of weak again. I mean, I mean the signal. The signal looks like it's a little weak today. It might be because I have this phone. I wonder if I can do this without disconnected. I have this phone on the Wi-Fi again. Let me try to move it to the cellular data. Hopefully that didn't disconnect me on Clapper. And maybe then I can get a better signal on StreamYard. It might have worked. It might have worked because I have the phone that I'm streaming Clapper sitting right beside of this laptop. And so I think maybe sometimes they kind of fight for bandwidth there a little bit. So let's see. I've got, I really hate to shut down the Telegram group. Nobody's actually talking to me on Telegram. No, well, there's a few people. Ronaldo, guess what? That tip worked this time. It did work this time. Did you see the difference? It worked. So thank you so much for that. But so I've got, it's been pinging, the Telegram thing has been pinging in my headset, and it's very distracting for me. And so there's a lot of conversation going on over there. And I hate to close it out because sometimes they say really neat stuff that I can bounce off of. But my group is very small right now. And I have had a couple of suspicious characters try to join it. And I kind of removed them. But yeah, I did get that tip. Thank you so much for that. All right. So yeah, if you get a chance, check out Tim Cook's The Workshop podcast, and it's over on Fountain FM. And I will have the link. If you don't find it on your own, I will have the link in the amended show notes. Because I already had some put out there and I'll have to add it, which is no big deal. It's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But I am going to try to watch the clock. I do have the cuckoo clock ticking today. You will hear it in the background. If it hits 11, that means I got to jump because I got to get down the road. I also wanted to share with you that for my 50th episode, I did mention it last Friday, but I Tuesday was a difficult, show. So if you found it on YouTube, it was listed just under videos. So if you want to go back and find it, it wasn't listed under live. So I don't know if I want to go in and change that or not. It's not hard to do. It's just I got to do it. So, but I have decided to hold a little contest on my 50th episode, which will be coming up, if I counted correctly, it'll be the last Friday of this month. And it's just a little giveaway. You are going to have to be either on my YouTube or on Facebook, because you're going to have to, I'm going to have pre-selected hashtags that you're going to have to use in a live comment that the StreamYard giveaway app or program, I don't know what they call it, will spin through the comments and we'll pick one. So barring any unavoidable conflicts, that's going to be on the 31st of March, 2023. I'll pull from those who are participating. I'll use StreamYard's giveaway tool. Oh, they call it a tool. I had a note here to myself. I'll have a couple of key phrases and to be used in the comments. Now, what I'll do is I will order those shipped out of my Etsy store. So, and I'll take care of, the cost and the shipping. So whoever wins, it's not going to be any cost to you, but unless it's going to have to be a con-US country or maybe Canada. I'm not sure how if shipping to Canada is a big deal or not. I may ask in the Telegram group about that. If I ship something out of Etsy to Canada, is it going to get stopped at the? I mean, we're talking about a coffee mug or something. It's not going to be $1 million worth of anything or any Bitcoin. So let's say, for example, if I say the phrase is going to be #Robin is great, then you'll have a certain amount of time to use to either just simply comment #Robin is great, or use #Robin is great. Here's my comment, just some kind of something like that, so that the StreamYard tool will find the hashtag and pick it up and include your account in the drawing. Then you're going to have to get, I'll announce it. You're going to have to get with me so that I can get your shipping address. You'll need to comment using the phrase. I'm not going to announce the phrases ahead of time. I'm not going to say like next week, okay, here's the 3 phrases, because I don't want people trying to cheat, because people will do that. They'll go in, they'll populate the phrases, and then they'll leave. And you got to be present to win, in other words. So you'll need to be watching the live stream to get the phrases. Then StreamYard's giveaway tool will choose the winner. Right now, I plan to give away a ceramic coffee cup with the Holstein House round logo, an enamel coffee cup with the Holstein House Hip Camp camper van little logo, which is kind of hard. I can try to show. I think the image I have here is the hip camp. Does that give you the full screen there? So this is the hip camp. Yeah, this is the hip camp camper van. I don't know if you can see my mouse pointer, but in the center of this tin, and it's an enameled cup, in the center of this enameled cup, for those of you watching the live stream, is a little tiny little image of a little camper van with some trees and mountains behind it. And it says Holstein House Hip Camp, established 2023, rest yourself. So that's kind of the little logo thingy, or if you want to call it that. Now let's see, where's my other one? Here it is. This one is, I can't get that one to populate because I have my windows squished down. This is the ceramic cup. If you can see it, I'm not sure how well you can see. It's just a traditional ceramic white coffee cup. It has a round logo with the words Holstein House in the middle, and it says established 2001, which is the year that Wayne and I got married. Diamond, West Virginia, which is where we're located. So those are the 2 things right now. I might do a t-shirt. I'm not real happy with the t-shirt that I got from the vendor that I'm using. I ordered 2 samples. It just felt like a big vinyl sticker on a shirt. So I haven't washed it yet. I have worn it. So I have worn it. It's going to go in the wash. We're going to see how well it holds up. I hate to send one. I may do it anyway, but I hate to send one of us that's going to come apart. The shirt itself is one of those moisture wicking shirts. It's a really nice shirt, but the actual sticker, that they put on is just, I'm not real happy with it, but we'll see. We'll see. It'll probably work out just the same. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. So that's that, and it's 22 minutes after, so we're doing pretty good. I do want to remind you that this is episode 44 of the Holstein House podcast, and we do use it on the YouTube, but it's episode 44 for the podcast, and we premiered the podcast on Fountain.fm network, Value for Value Exchange network. If you found me on Fountain, and I hope you'll find something clip-worthy and boost-worthy, and that you will share any value that you feel I have brought to you today, whether that may be making you laugh, making you think, making you cry, making you angry even. If I made you really angry, then pay me like I did. Tip me with sats to the degree that I really hacked you off today. But yeah. And don't forget, we do have, I do have the Etsy shop, etsy.com/Holstein House. We have quite a few things on the Etsy shop, t-shirts and mugs, and even some little stickers. I think I took my stickers downstairs. I don't have them to show you. They're just little hip camp stickers that I had ordered. They're not sitting here. I'm pretty sure I took them downstairs to the bunker. I did. They're not in here. So I can't show you. I should have kept one up. I'll have to remember that. I'll have to remember to bring them up. Sorry. So I hope you'll follow and boost. I hope you'll share the information, share this podcast, share this YouTube channel with your friends, and subscribe. Subscribe and save, as they used to say in the grocery store. Subscribe and save. So, all right, where was I? Just a few things to chum the waters with today. I had to quit doing that. She said tip. I did say tip. Yeah, the enamel cup is like a campfire cup. It sure is. I don't know. Have you ever had any of those, Ronaldo? They're mine. Bob decided to come in and chase the cat off of the drinking water there. He's going to get him a big box or drink of water. So you may hear him doing that. I did say tip. Yes, I did. I've been trying to avoid using that phrase, but it seems like I can't. It seems like that's what everybody's doing. So I don't think you can see it. I have a little pin on this morning. Whether you can make that out or not, I'm not going to no, you can't. I'm not going to lean forward. It's on my sweater, my cardigan. And it is actually, I've done a little bit of, I toy around with genealogy in that we did an ancestor, one of those spit tests for DNA and chased our DNA a little bit that direction. I've done some looking up online. I haven't done the hard ancestry research where you physically go out, you touch the documents, you get a copy of the documents, you build these big files. I do it the lazy way. And if you're over on Clapper, you can donate to the wish list. Coffee and donuts over there on the wish list, and diamonds, and I don't know what all else they have over there that you can show your appreciation or not for this live this morning. But the ancestry.com thing, Wayne and I both have done. Now, I've shared before that we are actually cousins, and this isn't that weird hillbilly backwoods up the holla kind of, we're second cousins and our kids have 6 eyes. This is several generations back, 7 generations back, we have common ancestor. So one of our ancestors that settled in the Garrett's Bend area of Lincoln County, West Virginia, had 10 kids, and 2 of the sons, two of the brothers, one is the ancestor of Wayne's side, and the other is the ancestor on my side. So it was really interesting. We were able to confirm that with the DNA thing. It's like 5th, 6th cousins, 7th cousins, something like that. But then we were able to trace it back. And every now and again, I take spells where I'll spend a whole weekend, tracing back my family tree. And it can get complicated the further back you go because you're so far removed and there's no one to ask, and you're just guessing and you're just reading the information on this person's tree, comparing it to somebody else's tree, comparing it to what and you're putting these puzzle pieces together. Well, one thing I know is that on my father's side and my mother's side, our families have roots in Ireland, England, and Scotland. Then it kind of branches out on my dad's side, goes over into the Scandinavian countries, Germany, and that kind of stuff. And my mother's family, the only stories we got back from them were Scotland, Ireland, and that kind of stuff. So I've done a little research, that superficial kind of research that you do with the online programs and the subscription ancestry type programs. And I can trace on my dad's side into Scotland to the clan, the Gunn clan, Gunn, the Gunn clan. And the way they say it is Clan Gunn. And I looked it up for this morning, but I've got this written down somewhere else, but I don't have it committed to memory. Clan Gunn is a Highland clan. I was also looking this up to see what my tartan was, but most commonly associated with the northeastern areas of Sutherland and Caithness. Now, I don't know if I've pronounced that properly or not. Caithness, Caithness. As one of the oldest Scottish clans, the Guns trace their heritage to the Vikings and the Norse Jarls of Orkney. Now, Vikings, I get. Norse Jarls, I'm not sure what that is. Noted for their ferocious fighting spirit and character, Clan Gun are perhaps most well known for long-standing feud with Clan Keith, born out of political conflict and need for land. The feud only officially ended in 1978 after around 500 years. The Gun clan motto is Ox Pat Ox Bellum, which is either peace or war, and the clan crest is a hand holding a sword. So this kind of explains a lot about my personality. Just this clan gun and the Oxpat Bellum, either peace or war, in my life. So at times, and it's not necessarily physical, to me, it's not necessarily physical violent war, beating on people and dropping bombs and stuff, but even spiritual war. And those of you who've been following me for a while know that I'm very strong in my following of Christ. And so I do believe in the New Testament. And while I differ with some of the man-made denominations and some of the rules and establishments and things that they have created, and the use of Christ in order to rationalize war, which I disagree with, I hold my belief in Christ very strongly. And so I believe in spiritual warfare, and spiritual peace. So I have this, I got this on an auction site. I probably paid way too much for it, but it was bid up quite a bit. I believe it's sterling. I'd have to turn it over to remind myself. I've got 3 different ones. This is the only one from Clan Gun. I've got Scottish Thistle and sword and another one. I forget what the other one was now, but they are sterling. But this one actually has the sword and the motto Ot Pax Ot Bellum on it. So I wanted to share that a little bit with you guys. That's just a little either peace or war. That's where I'm at in my personal life and in my spiritual life sometimes. Enamels, what you grew up with, Ronaldo. Yeah. We had a few pieces, but they were just kind of like souvenirish kind of things. It wasn't mom used a lot of it wasn't china, it's stoneware, but it was glass, Corel ware. We used a lot of Corel ware. Not too much plastic cups, some, because my dad would take them out to his welding shop beside the house and he would knock them over and they'd break. So she got into the Tupperware plastics for drinking cups and coffee cups pretty hard when they became reasonably priced and stuff, because Dad would take them out there and, knock them over and shatter them, and she wouldn't have any coffee cups left. Let's see. Married to someone that traced back to the Gun clan. We got married in Gun Tartan. Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. The Gun Tartan. Yeah. I don't have anything with the Gun Tartan pattern on it. I was just looking it up. A year ago, Wayne and his friends were participated. They were the musicians for a tartan ball for one of the local fraternities here. And that kind of re-energized my interest in it a little bit. And I thought, well, if they got to do it this year, but they weren't able to do it. The lead singer had heart attack and had bypass and stuff. So they had to get a different band. But anyway, so I was trying to look for that particular tartan and I just didn't get it. The Alaskan volcano. So I don't usually follow too much about the volcanoes. What I end up doing with volcano information, where did I put that? Oh, what did I do with that dumb link? I'm going to have to dig it back out. There's a volcano that's starting to rumble around a little bit in Alaska. And usually when these things happen, people get all kinds of upset. And Where was that dumb link? I just had that open, I thought. I bet I shut it off by mistake. I had to have, because those are not anything to do it. But it fascinates me because we'll have this renewed volcanic activity. And maybe we have an eruption, or maybe we don't. When we do have these eruptions, the pollutants that are spewed aren't considered in this never-ending argument about global warming. I don't know where you stand on it, and I'm not going to tell you you're right, and I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, because I don't think we have the ability to know. I don't think we will ever know, because we are taking our man-made pollutants, calculating what we're spewing up into the air, and then calling it horrible, which it is. I'm not saying we should be polluting. Don't misunderstand. But when we have these volcanic eruptions, the world has been changing since this rock was created. Okay, the climate on this planet has been changing since this planet formed an atmosphere, since a climate was first established. We've gone from global ice age to global warming to ice age. We're exiting a mini ice age now, so we're in a period of warming. People will argue, well, it's the rate of the change. I'm sorry. The number of volcanoes cannot be predicted. So without the ability to predict the number of volcanoes, the amount of junk that they spew into the atmosphere, we cannot properly predict the amount of pollution that we're creating is contributing to the change in the global climate. The Sahara Desert was not always desert. Greenland was not always covered with ice. The Antarctic at one time was not covered with ice. Heck, if you go back far enough, it was one gigantic continent. So however you want to calculate the age of the Earth, over that time, we have gone from this volcanic blob to the atmosphere we have now with the living plants and people and animals and reptiles and the fishes and the seas and things. And we do not I truly do not believe that we have the ability to completely with one caveat, nuclear weapons or things like nuclear weapons, whatever the next version of the nuclear weapon is. We can destroy tremendous amounts of life as we know it, but life will return. Think of the jungles in South America. As satellite imagery gets better and they can peer through the canopy, we can see the buildings and the infrastructure created by civilizations so far back. We didn't even think they knew how to move this stuff. So the earth has always been changed. So nature is taking back over those cities and destroying them. When you see the digs in Egypt, let's say, and they find new caves where, they didn't know that there were pharaohs buried. It's because they were covered with sand. It's because they were buried deep. It's because nature had taken that area back over. So while we can destroy human life, probably mammalian life, a lot of reptilian life, we're probably never going to be able to destroy every life on the planet. And if, like me, you follow the New Testament, you're going to see that's not what's going to happen anyway. Without getting into a biblical debate, we're not going to destroy the world. The world may be destroyed, but it's not going to be by humans. It's not going to be humans that do it. It's going to get bad. Now, for those who live in the area where these volcanoes are starting to rumble, you need to take them seriously. We need to look at what the potential destructive capabilities are of this particular volcano in Alaska. If it gives a really good explosion, where could this fallout land? How is it going to affect the atmosphere? And how can we get ready to survive it? I need to be looking at researching how that pollution or that dust and all that stuff that may blow out of that volcano in Alaska could hit the jet stream and the weather and affect me here in West Virginia, USA. I used to live in Fort Hood, Texas when my boy's father and I were married and he was in the Army. And there was a dust storm in, I believe it was Arizona, that ended up traveling. The dust in the air actually colored the air in the atmosphere where I was living at Fort Hood, Texas. You could go outside and see this peculiar shade to the sky, which wasn't cloud-based. It was because of all these dust particles that had blown in because that dust storm was so bad. So, it is possible for things happening that far away to affect us. Do we want to get conspiratorial and say, well, it's the Russians testing bombs causing this? I don't tend to go into that. I'd have to be privy to a lot more information to make that decision. And until I was to see a lot more coming out, could China testing nuclear weapons underground cause a volcano to erupt in Alaska? Depends on where the fault lines are. And there are groups here of environmentalists that like to say that fracking natural gas miles under the shale in the United States will cause local tremors and earthquakes. So anything's possible. Anything's possible. But it's just something that we need to be aware of and try to get ready for. So I was doing some reading because I'm going to be taking another class with the church here soon. Actually, the introductory class was last week, and we'll meet monthly, and there's a lot of reading and stuff. So I was kind of getting the syllabus together and stuff yesterday evening and looking at that. And the news was on, and here in the United States, the president is, I don't remember if he presented his budget yesterday or if he presents it today, but he was forwarding copies of it yesterday. Anyway, the news was talking about what the president's budget's going to be here in the United States. And one of the things that I perked up on when I heard it, because there's a lot of that stuff that you can't do anything with it. But he started talking about, taxing the rich, and they tried to define the rich and what corporations were going to get taxed. And corporations, this is a tired old saying. We hear it all the time, but it is in fact true. Corporations pay no taxes, period. They pass the costs of any taxes they have to submit onto their customers, whomever those customers are. My B&B is incorporated. If my taxes go up, the rates I'm charging my guests are going to go up comparatively. So I am not coughing up the money out of my personal account. The business is collecting more to cover the taxes that we're responsible to pay. So businesses don't technically pay the taxes. They pass them on. They collect more money so that they can make those payments. However, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. I wanted to come around to capital gains. Now, Um, capital gains, it's not that complicated. Pardon me for scratching the nose. Capital gains is what is, if you buy something, if you invest in something for $1, and we're just going to say for the example, oh, there's my link to the volcano. I should have looked. I may come back to it, but there it is. If you invest in, say, Bitcoin, let's just use Bitcoin. It may not be the perfect example, but let's say that you invest $1 Bitcoin. You buy Bitcoin at $1, okay, and Bitcoin increases to $10 by the end of the year when you have to file your taxes. You get taxed. What he's proposing, capital gains taxes, what he's proposing is the gains on the capital being the $1 you invested, the gains on that $1 are taxed. So you invested, you bought Bitcoin at $1. At the end of the year, it's worth $10. You have $9 in capital gains. You're going to be paying taxes on that $9. So for this example, so you buy one share you buy one Bitcoin or one stock. If it's easier for you to deal with stock because it's something you're more familiar with, okay, we'll do it that way. You buy one stock in Procter & Gamble for $1. And at the end of the year, the cost of that one stock is now $10. So you've got $9 in capital gains. The proposed taxes on that is 45%. That's what he's talking about taxing you. 45%. So you're going to pay $4.05 on that $9 of increased value. Now you think, oh, well, that's just for the rich people who own stock. Honey, if you've got a 401k, if you've got a retirement plan, you probably have stock, and you're going to be paying taxes at a 45% rate on the increase in the amount, whether you cash it in or not. That's what his plan is. That's what his plan is. Whether you cash in that stock and get your $10 out of it or not, the President of the United States is proposing in his current budget that you pay 45% taxes. And it doesn't have anything to do with your household income when it comes to this capital gains. It's on anything. Your 401k is subject to this. So, you've got to, it's called unrealized capital gains. And from I've got a link to advisorhub.com and for the Biden tax increase of rates near 45%. And the paragraph that I'm looking at specifically is unrealized capital gains include, and unrealized means you didn't cash in your stock. It's just the value that had changed since you bought it. Include the increase of stock of your 401k and other investment plans. So how many blue collar people out here that may stumble across this podcast or this YouTube video, and you've got your pensions, or you don't have pensions, but you got a 401k, that's your retirement plan. You're going to get hit with this. You're going to get hit with this. Let me look at this language a little better here. Give me just a second. They're fighting for resources here. The budget proposal would increase the capital gains rate to 39.6% from 20% for people earning at least $1 million to equalize taxation of investments. Okay, that's the capital gains. Biden is also proposing to increase the 3.8% Obamacare tax to 5% for those earning at least $400,000. You're probably not watching me if you're making $400,000. Here it is. Oh, and crypto losses, the budget would eliminate a tax. The budget would eliminate a tax break for crypto investors that allows them to sell assets at a loss, generating tax breaks, and then immediately repurchase those currencies. This would apply a restriction to crypto holders that is already in place for those who invest in the stock market and other securities. So you can't sell it at a loss and turn around and buy it again and get a tax break. Where did that go? Where did that go? Here it is. One of the biggest changes would be nearly doubling the rate of capital gains tax and applying additional surcharge to fund Medicare, which would mean taxes on investments could rise to almost 45%. Okay. So if you've got any kind of a retirement plan at all where you work, I gotta watch my time now, it's 10 till, you are subject to this increase if it passes. Now, they'll get behind there and they'll huff and they'll puff and they'll sneeze and they'll spit and they'll act like they're negotiating down. But so what you do is you say, I want 100 million when actually you just want 50. And then you negotiate until you get to, as low as they say, when they say, we're not going any higher than 65. Well, heck, you've already beat what you wanted anyway. So there's that. Where did I just, oh my gosh. I have my stuff all out of sorts today. Not all out of sorts. The volcano, a swarm of earthquakes at remote Alaska volcano signals unrest. In Anchorage, Alaska, a swarm of earthquakes occurring over the past weeks have intensified at a remote Alaska volcano dormant for over a century, possibly an indication of an impending eruption. We started seeing a whole lot of earthquakes occurring one after another, several per minute. So John Power, a research geophysicist with the USGS stationed at Anchorage at the Alaska Volcano Observatory. There have been hundreds of small earthquakes, none larger than magnitude 2.75, but they are concentrated beneath the summit of the volcano. That indicates that we're seeing significant unrest at the volcano. Whether or not this will lead to an eruption is something we can't say at this point in time, but we are concerned about it enough that we've gone and elevated the warning level. So yeah, pay attention, my peeps in Alaska. It's anybody's guess whether this particular round of earthquakes end up with activity. The volcano is on an uninhabited island in the western Aleutians, about 1,250 miles or 2,012 kilometers southwest of Anchorage. There are no communities or structures there, but Adak, a city of about 170 residents on another island, is about 65 miles or 105 kilometers away and could see ash fall. If the volcano were to erupt, the biggest threat would be to aircraft. The Aleutians are below the routes that jets fly between North America and Asia. Isn't that odd? Because isn't that the route that Chinese spy balloon took? Coincidence? Conspiracy? It says it's very different than what you would see, for example, in Hawaii, Kilauea, or Mauna, where you see the beautiful red rivers of lava flowing down the side of a volcano, Power said. Tanaga is actually part of a 3-volcano complex on the island. Its tallest of the 3 is at 5,925 feet or 1,806 meters. Sits in the middle with Sajaka to its west. Sajaka had an older cone that collapsed into the North Pacific Ocean with a new cone that has emerged. To the east of Tanaga is Takawanga, mostly ice-covered volcano except for 4 craters. The last known eruption of Tananga was in 1914. So, They don't get into where the ash could, get picked up and swirled around. Sorry about that noise. All right, let's see. What did I not get to today? Because we've just got a few minutes. I may end up finishing early. I told you about the 50th episode giveaway. Don't forget, that's coming up at the end of the month, and you have to be present to win. And let's see. Oh, I do want to acknowledge those who have on the Fountain.fm app who have shared their value with Sats. So if you're still awake out there, before I go, let me share value for value exchange supporters since the last regular episode, and the regular episode would have been last Friday, with Tuesday being the episode dedicated to suicide is not painless. 200 sats from a follower or a listener whose handle is also known as TWS. I'm not sure who that is or if I've ever met them online before. I swear I think I've seen that. I can't put it together. 1,000 sats from HJ, always dedicated HJ, and 2,000 from Euphrosynos, who's also a regular supporter of the podcast, and I appreciate it. They were all very kind in their comments. They all contributed to the episode that was posted on Tuesday relating to my son's suicide, all acknowledging that, burying your children is not the natural order of things, and it is a very difficult thing to deal with, and it is. And I'll leave it at that. I don't have it today to go into it again. It takes a lot out of me. A special thank you again to Afro Thy Mix. Afro Thy Mix, for those who don't know, did make a snarky comment a couple of weeks ago, and has now become a promo code for my Etsy shop. And I started on March the 1st, and it goes through the end of the month, into March 31st, 2023, in case you stumble across this in a year or two from now. Enter Afrothymix, AFROTHYMIX, at checkout, and you'll get 5% off your total order. And check the show notes to the link for the Etsy shop, which is etsy.com/Holstein House, and Afrothymix, the promo code. I thank you again, and I'll start wrapping up here. As I stumble through all this, I'm getting a little better. I'm not getting that much better, but I do want to begin focusing a little more. I did run a poll. Oh, my Twitter poll. Oh my gosh, where's my Twitter poll? I forgot to tell you about the Twitter poll. Now, I've been on Twitter since almost it started. I have an account that's a private account now. But I have my public account, which is Robin A. Holstein. So it's Twitter at Robin A. Holstein. And I ran a Twitter poll that said, would you consider hosting someone, a B&B, but through Airbnb in your home? And I've had not a lot of response, but now this is just the first time I've done a poll through Twitter. I mean, I've had some conversations with people. Used to be very active with Twitter. Got to start winding it up. But I've got a little bit of both. I don't have anyone that said no, but I've got a 50-50 split of people who said yes or maybe. So I do have one that said yes, they're planning on using it in a home that they're building. And I did follow up and ask the person, I said, are you considering this as a home share or as a short-term vacation? And they're talking short-term vacation. So I want to talk about that a little bit. I'm not totally against that, but I think sometimes people go in it with the wrong idea, and they don't fully understand what's involved with short-term rentals like that, and the turnover and the damage and just the work that goes into it. It's not as easy as just turning it on and putting a key under the map and being gone. Then I had another person that said they needed a little more information, which, yes, I get that. I did too. It took me a little while to do it. So I do want to spend a little more time in my future YouTubes and podcasts on discussing the pros and cons and how to do Airbnb. I've been doing it since 2017. I'm not perfect, but I've been hosting from the home since then, and I've loved every minute of it. We've recently had some local folks in town for conferences and stuff. We had a Michigander last week, and I had is it Wisconsinite? Is that what you say? Do you say Wisconsinite for folks from Wisconsin? The gentleman that stayed with us on Wednesday and left very early Thursday. He was out yesterday before 6 o'clock. It was shocking to my system a little bit because my guests usually don't get up before 8:30 when they leave. So I went ahead and laid out breakfast early. I don't normally lay it out that early. This was a different little case. He just wanted some coffee and some coffee and cereal. So I didn't put out all of the sourdough and all of the donuts and everything and the juice and the milk and everything, because he said, I just want some coffee and some cereal. And so that was it. So I went ahead and set that out. So that went very well. And again, if you're traveling to or through West Virginia and you're traveling north or south, if you're going up the West Virginia Turnpike or coming down towards the Turnpike, consider, and you need a place to stop on the way, consider stopping at Holstein House. Look us up. We're on Facebook, and we're in Airbnb. You can save some money if you direct book. I mean, that's just how that goes. If you direct book, you're not paying the Airbnb fees, and like taxes, I pass those fees on to guests. So that's part of the reason our prices are set the way they are, is because Airbnb is going to take a chunk out of it. So consider staying at Holstein House. We'd love to have you. If you are traveling, I'm also on Hip Camp. They decided that tent camping was not appropriate to use through Hip Camp. We didn't meet their requirements for that, and that's okay. It's no big deal. But as of right now, if you use Hip Camp and you use a camper van or a very small RV or truck camper for that matter, and you need a spot to stay for a night, maximum of 2 nights on the Hip Camp, because we're not a campsite. We're just a spot to stop, to catch your breath, and to relax and stretch a little bit in between your travels. So that'll be it for today. I do appreciate everybody that's joined us and commented, whether it's on YouTube, Ronaldo, and or it's the folks over on Clapper who I can't respond to some of that stuff. You guys, some of you guys that are on Clapper that have a big following, you don't have to put up with. I don't think you have to put up with some of the just unfortunate stuff that I have to deal with when I have Clapper open and I'm running a live stream. So I'm going to sign off on Clapper now. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to let you go. And if I can get that button pushed, there it goes, it's over. And for those of you guys over here on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, I do appreciate your time. I'm going to close it off now. Got to head over to the funeral home to pay my respects to our former pastor who's gone home to be with the Lord. I know he's just happy as can be now. He is happy, but his wife would be struggling, and the extended family. And I'm going to go over there for a few minutes. So we'll catch up with you later. Follow me on all of the socials. For the most part, all the socials have me there somewhere. Rumble, Clapper, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, MeWe, what's the other one? Freesteading, and Telegram. Telegram is t.me/Holstein House group, the Holstein House group. So look us up. Check in with us, and we'll talk to you again soon. See you next time. Bye-bye. So there you have it. Post your comments, do all that boosting, liking, sharing, thumbs up, and stuff that helps spread the word and poke the algorithms. Follow me on most of the big social media platforms and look for my name, Robin Holstein, or Holstein House. Till next time, bye-bye.